Hello. Recently, I talked about a book called Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver, and there's a sequel to that book called Leather and Lark. Instant classic. Let's start with a refresh on the characters, because who remembers those fuckers? I don't. First off, Sloane was one of the main characters from the first book, and her best friend was Lark, who is one of the main characters in this book. Lachlan is represented by Leather in this, but Lachlan was Rowan's brother from the first book. That's all we need to know. Let's get into the plot. I have shocking news. Lark is also a multiple deleter, and she's out here killing people too. The only main difference between her and the first characters is that she's not doing Dexter style, she's just killing. That being said, she's also just killing people that have done her wrong because her boyfriend cheats on her, and she kills him by tying him to a chair and setting off a bunch of fireworks. Okay, so fast forward past that, we're on to Lark's second victim, and she T-bones this guy's car into some water, and the car's going down. It's Halloween, and she's dressed up like Harley Quinn. Yes, I know that was very apparent from my art skills. Anyways, this guy's car is in the water, and it's just too much for her to clean up, but she has to clean it up because there's too much evidence left behind. So she calls her stepdad. She requests that he sends one of those cleaners, if you know what I'm saying, one of those official cleaners for a situation like this. They're rich. They're a rich family. Company that they call is Leviathan, and that is a sea monster, right? A Leviathan's a sea monster. When I went to go look into making sure I was right about that information, under that little area where it's like people also search for this, there was one for Behemoth, but the image that was attached to that was that. Okay, what? Lark's chilling by herself waiting for the cleaners to show up, and two guys show up. One of them is named Connor. He tells her that. The second one is wearing a ski mask, doesn't share his name, but she starts calling him Budget Batman. So Budget Batman goes to get the dead body out of the water, but I guess he keeps his ski mask on, which to me, it seems like that's got to be borderline waterboarding yourself, right? Because that covers your nose. And who goes scuba diving with the ski mask on? Whatever. The point is, she never sees his face, okay? He gets out of the water, still has the ski mask on, she never sees him. When he comes out of the water, though, and drops the dead body on the ground, she does not give a fuck, right? Because she killed this guy on purpose. But he doesn't know that. He thinks it was just a drunk driving accident or something, and he's judging her because she's remorseless about the situation. And so they're not getting along. They don't like each other. So they finish up this whole thing, but it does not end on good terms. Lark is pissed, okay? Moving on. They make a time jump of like a year or something, I think, and now we're focusing on the main character, Lachlan, instead. He's a hitman for hire. He's working for this guy, Leander, and he's an asshole. Lachlan got himself into this mess because when they were younger, him and his other two brothers from the last book, they killed their dad. Their dad owed Leander money, and when Leander went to go get the money from him, he found that these kids had killed him already. Leander helps the three of them cover it up, and he takes them to America. I never mentioned this in the last one, but they're from Ireland. Time passed, but Lachlan's working for Leander to make up for this help that he gave them. We're finding out that Lachlan can't leave the business because he lost a really big contract for the company by giving terrible customer service. Who would have guessed? Lachlan's Budget Batman. Lark and Lachlan are really close to the people from the last book, so both of them go to the celebration party for Rowan opening that new restaurant that he made. When Lark and Lachlan see each other, sparks are flying. They go on a balcony together and they're making out. And then Lachlan says, Christ Jesus? And Lark has the realization that Lachlan is Budget Batman based off of this one phrase. Takes a while for Lachlan to get on the same page, but they realize who each other are, and they're like, ugh, ugh, gross. Fuck you. They spend the next however long avoiding each other. Back to Lark. Her family is rich because they have a muffin company. You know, chocolate chip, banana nut, the whole thing. Sometimes business like that gets messy, so they have those contracts, right? Ethel is Lark's aunt, and she's the matriarch of this muffin empire. She's unfortunately ailed. She is slowly dying. It's terminal, so they're putting her into a home, a nursing home. They're preparing for that, and Ethel calls up Lark, and she asks her to go pick up something from her room somewhere. But when Lark goes over there, she overhears a conversation between her mom, her stepdad, and a third guy that works for them. That guy helps the family deal with all their sketchy business, okay? They're discussing an issue at hand. Someone is killing distant members of their family, people that are associated with them, a cousin, people of that nature. They suspect someone's coming after them, but they don't know who, so they're on edge. They do have a few suspects. One of them is Lachlan. They're thinking Lachlan must be mad because maybe he lost his job after they cut off the contract with Leviathan. It's either that or a guy named Bob with a competing muffin company. It's neither of them. So, because of that, they're discussing killing Lachlan, but they're also like, we have to also kill Rowan, the brother, because, you know, if you kill one of them, the other ones are going to come, and we know that. But you might remember that's Lark's best friend's husband at this point. She likes that guy. She loves Sloane. So she's like, I can't let this happen. Lark goes back to her Aunt Ethel, and she realizes this was done on purpose. Ethel wanted her to hear about that conversation. And now she's trying to get Lark to marry Lachlan. I don't really follow the logic of it, but Lark does, so she's like, fuck. I don't want to do that, but like, I think that's a good idea. I guess if she's married to him, they won't kill him. We're catching up to the end of the last book, timeline-wise, because now they're going to Sloane and Rowan's wedding. So Lark takes that opportunity to have this conversation with Lachlan and propose that they get married. She gives him the incentive as well that if he does this for her, she will give Leviathan back the contract from her stepdad's family that he lost because of her, and also her biological father's contract. Her dad's dead, but the contract for that family, and then maybe Leander will let him retire as he's been trying to do. So Lachlan goes, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then like a week later, they get married. Everyone's super confused because like a week ago, they hated each other. Lark very publicly hated this man, and now they're married. No one's buying it, but she doesn't want to tell anybody why because she thinks that it's going to put them in harm. So she just doesn't tell anybody anything. She's just married to this guy now. In order to make this look more believable for her family, I guess, they move in together. And Lark also has a dog named Bentley. The dog is fine. He does not die in the book at all, so don't worry. He gets a little hurt, but he's fine. She makes music, and she also makes little mementos, little treasures of the people that she has killed. Or deleted, I'm sorry. They talk about a few of them. She's got like a snow globe with a finger in it, maracas. Don't worry about that too much. But they also have her drown a guy in resin and make a massive coffee table out of it. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. I don't know how popular this video is, but there's some people that were trying to like encase jack-o'-lantern pumpkins in resin, and they did it with multiple, and they were all basically rotting on the inside to the point where it was like leaking, and they were having all these problems. So in my head, I was reading that, and I was like, okay, if she puts that body in there, it can't be too much different from the pumpkin, so it's not going to end well for her. But it's a book, so it doesn't matter. But another thing about this that got me is that this was just some like dude that she didn't know. She didn't have like a personal issue with him. It was just another one for many victims. So why did she choose to save his entire body, but she saves like a finger of somebody else? The extremes don't add up to me, right? But they live together, separate rooms, but they live together. If you're getting bored, don't worry, because there's also a phantom character. The chapters switch off from POVs from Lachlan and Lark, but additionally they have the Phantom. This guy's the one that they were alluding to in the end of the first book that wants to kill Lachlan because Rowan killed his brother. So this guy's been breaking into their houses and plotting and doing all this stuff, and he just keeps saying a bunch of religious things that don't make any sense to me, personally. He's the one that's been killing the people that Lark was talking about, and he is not even on their radar. They don't know who the fuck this guy is. So they carry on blissfully unaware, and then Lachlan goes to Lark's family brunch that they have weekly to meet her family and reveal that they got married. They're pissed. They're pissed. While they're there, though, they make a whole scene of Ethel giving Lark one of the contracts to sign for the one side of the family. So she's half done with this promise to Leander. Lots of L names in this one for a lot of random fucking characters, and I know it's really confusing because it's confusing to me. And I read the whole thing. Anyways, the family got mad, so Lark and Lachlan leave together. Hey, so real quick, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is that? Things are building up between them, obviously, so it's getting a little romantic, but they both think that they hate each other. So nothing comes of it. For the sake of brevity, Lachlan finds Lark's little trophies while he was going through her shit, and he realizes this girl's killing people. He confronts her, she does not care, and he also doesn't care, I guess, because then they're just like, alright, and they move on from it. All the secrets are out there, though, and Lark is like, wow, this feels nice to have somebody finally know about this side of me, because she didn't even tell Sloane from the first book. Sloane doesn't even know. So Lark and Lachlan go to give Leander the contract that she signed earlier, and when she goes, she brings some muffins, but I guess they were laced with something because Leander passes out. I guess Leander was totally chill with that because he likes Lark after that. He's totally chill and on board with being drugged in his own home. Not really important to the plot, I just thought it was interesting. And what the fuck do you put in muffins to make someone pass out but they're fine? I don't know. I don't know how to tell you this, but Lachlan owns a leather shop, and that's why it's Leather and Lark. It's unrelated to his contract killing, and they literally only have him in this place for the one scene. But this dude walks in, his name is Abe, and he's trying to get Lachlan to fix this horse saddle for him. And he wants to engrave something religious on the horse saddle. Lachlan's getting weird vibes from this guy, but then Lark walks in, shakes his hand. They have a whole conversation about God. I don't know. So all three of them leave the leather place at the same time, and they go to a show that Lark is doing with a different band. A band she is not a part of, but people are showing up to see her specifically, so I guess she's got some kind of following. So they're getting all set up, and Abe shows up there and starts talking to her about her cello. Both her and Lachlan see this guy, and they don't think anything of it. They know who he is. They're like, oh yeah, he's from the leather shop. We just saw him, and now he's here. But they don't think anything of it. They don't even talk about it, nothing. We're getting pretty far into the story, so this is when they start throwing in all of those sex scenes. But neither of them are terribly injured, so it's an improvement from the last book. Obviously, everything has to go south. This phantom goes and kills Aunt Ethel, and when he's going to go do that, she just does not give a shit. Okay? She's going on like, damn, I wish I stole that muffin recipe from Bob. I wish I let that other guy eat my ass when I had the chance. But besides that, she's like, okay, kill me. So she's dead. And then Lark gets a call from her mom and stepdad to tell her, hey, Ethel's Ethel's dead. So she's like, fuck. She calls Lachlan and they plan to meet up at the hospital where the body's still at. It's important to know they don't realize that Ethel was murdered. They just thought she succumbed to her ailment, I guess. So nobody knows that she died in a sketchy way. So Lark's getting ready to go, and her dog from earlier, Bentley, starts barking something fierce. She goes out there, and it's Abe, okay? He starts attacking her and knocks her unconscious with some more drugs he injected into her. Cut to Lachlan. He's at the hospital, and he's like, where's Lark? She was supposed to be here. She was closer. She should have been here first. So he starts getting sketched out. She's not answering the phone, and he's like, I gotta go look for her. Oh my god, something's gone wrong. He's like, I'm gonna go back to our apartment, house, whatever. He calls Finn and the third brother, and he's like, meet me at my house, my place. He tries to go Rowan and Sloan as well, but they're on a honeymoon, so they're like, it's gonna take a minute, but we're driving there. Don't worry. We're on our way. Lachlan gets to the house. Rose and Finn are there. Rose is the one from with the crutches from the first book, if you remember. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But she's there. They get into the apartment. Bentley is injured, the dog, but he's fine. Okay. Lark, not there, nowhere to be seen, but there was signs of an obvious struggle. She's gone. So Connor and Lachlan are on the phone at this point. Connor's the other contract killer guy from earlier, and they're talking about Abe because Lachlan pieced together that he was sketchy, and they're realizing that he's the brother of the Chainsaw Massacre guy from the first book, the one with the mummified mummy mommy, and that is the guy that Abe is getting revenge for. I don't recall this popping up in the book at all. I don't remember any sort of comment about this, but somehow Lachlan's like, oh, he lives right across the street. I don't know. So they go over there and he's like, oh, he probably lives in the apartment directly across from ours. So he's like watching them. What are the odds that apartment's ready for lease? What are the odds he's able to get in there? They go into that apartment. Yeah, that's the one that Abe's been staying at. But they're also not in there. Abe and Lark aren't at that apartment. But there is a map. So they're like, okay, let's go to the place on the map. We're back with Lark now, and she wakes up inside of a batch oven. I don't really want to talk about that one. But Abe's on the outside with a gun, and he's saying his Jesus stuff again. He's talking about how this is an eye for an eye, okay? He's doing his little monologue, and Lachlan shows up, and he says, hey, okay, you have to pick between saving Lark in this oven and your brother Rowan, who's driving here, because I put a bomb in his car. Surprise! Don't know how he did that. I also feel the need to recap. This guy's trying to get revenge for his brother that Rowan killed. He's saying an eye for an eye, so he was going to kill Rowan's brother. But now he's just taking this all out on Lachlan. He's making him choose between things. This is not how revenge works. And in his new wife, what did Lark do? Plan just doesn't make sense to me. It seems more like he has beef with Lachlan than anything to do with Rowan. But what do I know? Lark speaks up. She's like, I'm gonna choose for him, and I pick to save Rowan. Abe's like, yeah, okay, I'll kill Rowan then. So he didn't even care about what he was saying this whole time, because now Lark just gets to decide. The oven turns on, and she's spinning around as if it's a microwave in there, okay? Either way, she's cooked. She hears some muffled sounds of struggles. Then the oven window shot out, and they take her out of the oven. Lark is fine. Abe, not fine. So Finn and Rose from earlier, they arrived there to save them, and they say, hey, we called Rowan and told him to just get out of the car, and he's fine. The car didn't blow up. No worries. They're okay. Lachlan gets pegged. That's the end of the story. This book was much more put together than the first one. It made more sense. It's still a little goofy and outlandish, but like the parts that were funny were meant to be funny mostly. But looking at the reviews on Goodreads, I found out that I'm wrong. People did not like this one. Sarah Caroli gives 2.5 stars and a frowny face. Chan says, well, I finished it, wish I hadn't. Also, a bunch of stars for the words pleated whole, which they do say a lot. Did not finish at 47%. Unfortunately, the book couldn't hold my interest. It started off okay, but lost me pretty early on. The plot was very boring and I couldn't care less about it. Tanya did not finish. Lachlan and Lark, more like lockless and lackluster. Such complete and utter crap, man. 1 star. Do not recommend. Very, very disappointed. Books I have beef with. So I'm pretty sure the next one, Scythe and Sparrow, is supposed to be about the third brother Finn and that other girl Rose with the crutches. They gave a little preview from a Rose POV, and she's talking about a circus and motorcycle tricks. So that sounds very promising. It's supposed to come out in February. I'd give this one like a 7 out of 10. Genuinely an improvement from the first one, but that's not for my benefit. Bye!